Thornley released their new solo dungeons, and I've seen a lot of tanks and melee players struggling with this. In this video, I'll be covering how I did it as a SNSGS players, and this is very easy. All you need is some patience. I'm going to post my build right here. Just copy the exact same thing. All you need is the passives and the skills. The build basically is supposed to make the dungeon very easy, but it takes a lot of time. You use a lot of defensive abilities, just making sure you don't die. So let's check out how I did it. The most important thing during this fight is knowing the mechanics. You want to make sure that this boss fight does not have any pillars on the map, because the more pillars you have, the more damage boss does. If you have more than 1 or 2 pillars, you will probably die even as a tank. How you do that is basically you can control where the boss puts the pillars. What I did is I just used a straight line and just have to stand on the straight line, but of course dodge the damage. But as a tank, you survive most of the damage coming from the pillars or the big orbs, but make a straight line with the pillars. Now, after the pillars, the boss does a mechanic where you have to jump, and after this jump mechanic, the boss is gonna teleport to where you're standing. So this is the time where you're gonna stand in a straight line with the pillars to make sure that the boss aims his laser and hits all the pillars to get rid of all of them. Now, after this laser mechanic is done, if there are pillars, the boss will do more damage. This is where you want to make sure there's 0 pillars on the map. That way the boss will do a huge damage but won't hit you. Also, during this phase, you can't really do damage to the boss. It has a buff that basically reduces damage taken, so don't go ahead and smash your skills. Just wait till those 2 swords are gone, and then you can just continuously smash the boss. It is very easy to tell when the pillars are coming. You can see on the amount of attacks the boss does. He does increase the amount of pillars that he puts down. He starts with 3 on every rotation, and then when you get to the end phase of the fight, it will spawn 4 pillars instead. But it's basically the same thing that you do over and over again. Again, this fight is all about patience, being careful. You can see how easily it is done as a tank, especially if you're using this build. It just takes some time, but that is basically how the boss is done. Now for the last boss, it's a lot of this boss is so easy, guys. It's basically just dodging simple mechanics. You can be completely AFK for like the 70% of the fight. I was like half AFK just watching a movie on my right monitor by doing this boss. On the last 30 or 20%, you kind of have to lock in because the boss spawns 3 as that charges through you. During this phase, you can either just run or you can just dodge roll. But during this phase, you can take a lot of damage, so just lock in for the last 30%. And that is it. Guess what I got, dude? I got that sword with max health.